Dumaguete City. Hello, Negros Oriental. Hello, Cinemanians around the world. On behalf of Joshua Soldivillo, this is Ronelyn Vailoces, and you are watching #Silliman. Good evening, everyone. This is a magazine program that talks about different aspects of Silliman University. A program initiated to discuss matters concerning the campus by the sea. Welcome, everyone, to #Silliman. Good evening and welcome again to #Silliman. I hope you are having a great night tonight, and thank you very much for making #Silliman your Monday night habit. As you can see, we are in a new location. We are now here at Arinego Arts Gallery foyer, surrounded with colorful and thought-provoking paintings. You know what they say? Art must inspire and evoke emotions. It must also disturb the comfortable and comfort the disturbed. So tonight we will be talking about arts and culture, and without further ado, let me introduce to you this night's guests. We have here tonight the chairperson of the Silliman University Fine Arts Department. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Sir Don Flores.
Hi.
Good evening, Sir Don.
Good evening. Yeah. Thanks for coming over.
And we also have here with us a senior student, fine arts student, Maria Isabel Gutang. Should I call you Isa or?
Yeah, Isabel is fine.
Yeah, okay. Good evening and welcome to #Silliman.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
So let's keep the ball rolling, and since we will be talking tonight about culture and the arts, these terms seem to be inseparable to each other. Now, how are these concepts related to each other, Sir Don?
Well, when you think about culture is sort of the larger context of the arts. Arts happen in a particular culture. They are expressions of that culture, whether it's a kind of visual culture or a kind of material culture. The arts provide a kind of formalized way to look at our present-day culture. The cultures where the art is created, they are all formalized realizations of that culture.
You know, the art is also a broader term, a broader concept. Now, let's talk more about fine arts. How is it different from the other arts?
Well, the fine arts, the idea of the fine arts really started in the Renaissance, right? When, incidentally, when also like modern day education through universities began. And as they formulated different fields of study, the fine arts was one of them. The idea of the fine arts is that we're in essence, and you know, the function of this space as well, is that it's a kind of gymnasium for your eyes and your mind. So it trains you to look at the world in a certain way. And when we say the fine arts, we don't mean just entertainment or pleasure, right? Those are fine attributes, but we also try to push the arts toward a more critical space where we're using the lens of art really to look at our culture and our society. And that's, you know, the role of fine arts in society is to kind of sharpen our eyes and our minds.
Thank you very much for that, Sir Don. Now let's go back, let's go to Isa. This is a personal question. Of all the disciplines or all the career that you want to pursue, why did you choose fine arts?
That's the thing. At first, I didn't choose it, but not for the reason that you might think. I didn't choose it because at first, it didn't seem like it was an option for me. Like, I didn't think that, like, a career out of art, or I had a job waiting for me after art. And then I think, like, as your dream changes when you grow up, like, it just kind of happened that way where I was like, okay, this is what I want, and I tried to fight for it, and now I'm here, I guess. So yeah, it was just like a thing that I really enjoyed doing. So I thought, but I felt like it's such a big space. There's so much to know about it that I feel like, okay, I have to go to school for this because I really wanted to like get into it. And, yeah.
Yeah. So thank you for that. So what do you usually do? Do you paint or do you do sculpting?
I think that's the thing about fine arts in Silliman specifically. It's not like we have a single major that we focus on. So because I think for me the medium doesn't really, well, it's not like it doesn't matter, but I think the context behind your work matters a lot more, at least for me. So the medium comes second after that, so it kind of has to relate to what you want to do. So it's less of like, it's a painting or it's a drawing. It's about what you're saying it, and it's just how you're saying it. It's how you're presenting it. So I kind of do, well, other stuff too. Like I don't stick to one thing only. Yeah.
So what's your bias now? Or so what do you usually do?
I still do like a lot of things, but right now I'm a senior, so we're working on our thesis. So a lot of my thesis, the medium is kind of like prints and photography. So that's what I'm focusing right now at the moment. But I also really do like painting and sculptures too.
Thanks for that, Isa. Now, Sir Don, how does Silliman University study and promote culture and the arts, especially the culture here in Dumaguete and the arts that we have here as a community?
Yeah, so there's an understanding every time we have an exhibition or we show artwork that there's a surrounding community around that, right? Maybe it's students, maybe it's a department, maybe it's a collective, like outside of campus or within campus. The idea here is that you're actually creating a kind of platform for exchange, for an exchange of ideas, right? You're using that platform as a way to promote discourse, to exchange ideas with each other, to talk about what's important to each other, right? And we use we use art as lens for that, as a kind of focusing device, right? Because really at the end of the day, it's not really about the art as much as it is about the people and the community that allows the art to flourish. Which is also, we encourage our students to find exhibition spaces outside or to put their works outside of campus. You'll find odd little bits of art here and there if you look at the walls very carefully around campus or outside of campus. Some of our students have done a little bit of street art, for example, and that's really, it becomes, again, a way to begin a conversation, right? So the art is there to promote connection between people, to promote exchange of ideas between people. So at the end of the day, it's really not just about the artists. It's about, who you're talking to, the people who support your work, the people you support through your work. Like some of our students are very interested in social issues, for example. So they use art as a way to interrogate those issues, to make visible, certain aspects of society that we need to look at more closely, and so on and so forth.
Thank you very much for that, Sir Don. Now, I'd like to go to Isa. How important is art in your life, and how do you express yourself through the arts that you make?
In terms of how important, as an art student, it's really important. I have to pass. Like, I already signed up for it. I need to get a degree out of it, But I think it's less of an extension of myself, but it's also a reflection of the world that I do live in. So it's like you're walking on the beach and you're leaving your footprints. It's kind of like that. So that's kind of how I look at it. It's not of like, I'm not looking at it as like it's so important, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna change the world with my art. It's less of that, but it's more on, I'm just making art today, and then sometime you're gonna see how, like, oh, this artwork or is like a reflection of her because she lived in that world. Like, we're all subject to culture, and that's gonna show in your art. So I think that's how it's important for me, because it's like an extension of that, I guess.
Of who you are and how you think
Yeah,
about the
and
world.
where I live, yeah.
No. Yes, Sir Don. Why did you choose fine arts as your career? Of all the disciplines that you can, why fine arts?
Well, I was in psychology before I was in art. I was also like teaching preschool. I think I just had like one too many art activities with my preschoolers, and I ended up studying art for my master's. And like with Isa here, who's experiencing this, it's a broad field, right? You can pick any medium, you can pick any tool, any art making approach, and make it make sense. And I think that's kind of the attraction for me. But it also gives me an opportunity, like with my art practice, it gives me an opportunity to kind of step away from the world a little bit and to think about my being in the world without being directly in it. So it gives you a little bit of space, right? And that kind of space to think, to explore, to experiment. I think everybody should have that kind of space. And that's why I chose the field, because it's actually about giving each other room, right? Room to think, room to contemplate, and so hopefully to eventually form better connections with each other.
Better. So, Sir Don, you mentioned a while ago that art is not just here for visual pleasure, but it needs for us to also start a conversation about relevant issues nowadays. Now, let's try to relate it to the community, the art community that we have here in the localities, particularly in Dumaguete City. Now, how important is art concerning social issues nowadays, like climate change and mental health? What are the efforts that has been made by the art community in Dumaguete to address these particular problems? But before you answer that, Sir Don, let us first take a break. #Silliman will be right back. Sir Don here. What are the efforts of the art community here in Dumaguete to address certain issues, like mental health, climate change, and whatnot? So, Sir Don, we're waiting for your answer. What are the efforts made by the art community?
So when you're looking at Dumaguete, you're really looking at small art groups, right, with very different purposes. But one way that I've seen the artists here come together is through the Visayan Visual Arts exhibition and conference. That happens every 2 years. The next one is going to happen next year. And like the last Viva that we call that kind of conference Viva for short. The last conference, which I was part of, was in 2018 pa. But during that time, there was really a strong kind of push to imagine art as part of the rural, rather than part of the urban or the developing, right? So there was a focus on indigenous methods, focus on the diversity of traditions we have in the Visayas, and that's a big way that art helps all of these social issues. It allows these issues to be visible to the public, right? And allows like a platform for discussing those issues. For example, and there are some artists also here in Dumaguete addressing specific environmental issues. There are people who are working on the No to 174 issue, for example. So the people who are making graphics for that, right? The people who are making even just the idea of painting your own protest sign is also a form of art. So this idea of making the issues visible, right, is part of the sort of the work that art has to do in the world. So that art isn't just an object in a room like we have here, right? But art needs also to be part of the world it comes from and to talk about that world. So to a certain extent, ultimately, we'd like the art to connect with those issues. There are other social issues, for example, like diversity, LGBT issues, for example, are being made visible through certain forms of art. And I'm not just talking about the visual arts, but also things like theater and writing, performance. You know. So all of those things, we consider all of those things to be part of the fine arts in the sense that it's not there really just for entertainment, but for us to learn more about what's important to us in the world we live in now.
I remember when I was like a freshman, I was in Mom Irma's class, and we made, like, all of us, the entire class, which was like made up of 20 people, and we just made up like signs, like protest signs for the zero waste, the protest, and then we tried to be really like creative with our posters, and I felt like it was like one of those few times where I felt like, oh, everyone in the class really got together, and we actually like made a lot of friends outside the community. So I think it's also about not only bringing that message out, but it also was such a great way for us to collaborate with other people. So yeah.
So it brings people closer together, and it addresses a certain issue by visibility, and of course, it's also thought-provoking, when you see those illustrations, But we kept on talking about art, but how do we conceptualize it? When can we consider that a material or something that is being created by someone must be called as art? Like, is a drawing drawn by a kindergarten already considered an art, Sir Don?
Of course, right? There's that saying that everybody's an artist, right? Now, whether that art is meaningful to you or not, that's for you to decide. Because art isn't just the object, it happens in your mind. Right? When you say something is beautiful and I take that away from you and I ask you, is it still beautiful? You're going to say, oh yeah, it's still beautiful. Right? So art happens in the mind. Right? Too often we get into this bind where we're trying to categorize something as art or not.
Yeah.
But I think the larger question is, how is it meaningful to you? How is this thing meaningful to you? Right? So it's not really about art, it's about meaning. Right? And I'd like to think that that's what we explore at the Fine Arts Department. So the idea of making these things and producing meaning out of them. So it's not just the object. Right?
It's not like purely the visuals and the aesthetics of it, which I think a lot of people still kind of get confused. Like, oh, I don't think this is art because it doesn't even look like art. But yeah, that's why it's such a long process. That's why I feel like as a senior, I still didn't get that much of. I still feel like I need to study a lot of it because it really does like take time to study, and because it's not just like a thing that you put in a gallery and you look at it. So yeah.
So art basically doesn't need to have the approval of anyone. It just depends on the meaning of the object itself. Or it's not just an object, as you said, Sir Don. It's really a nice concept towards treating art not just not just something, a tangible thing, but also it has impact in our thoughts and in our hearts. Sir Don, let's talk about the Fine Arts Department in Silliman University. So kindly talk about the different programs that you offer and why should students who'd like to become artists choose the Fine Arts Department in Silliman.
So just last year we completed our transition from the old BFA, Bachelor in Fine Arts painting program, to what we're now, what we now offer, the Bachelor in Fine Arts Studio Art program. One of the reasons for that transition is to make the training a little bit broader in terms of art mediums, in terms of art approaches, so that we move from the idea of, hey, art is always a painting on a wall, right? Into art might be, it might be twigs, or it could be some masking tape disguising as a beehive, or maybe it's an action in the world, or maybe it's a photograph, right?
So much more than a flat image.
Yeah. So the studio art program is broad in that way, where it tries to accept and nurture all of these different ways to make art. I'd like to think of it as a medium agnostic program. That is to say, we don't care so much about the medium per se, so long as the work is approached with a critical mind, with a kind of poetic sensibility, and because there's a tendency to be too technical about things, right? But we do teach the technical basics, right? But we allow the students to move from drawing to film to performance to back to painting again, and then maybe a side trip through to photography. So in that way, students can come to us, learners can come to us and decide what path they're going to take. So our first 2 years is really building a foundation, and on your third year, we have what's called independent studio, where you decide your own parameters. So the parameters for your own artwork, you have to figure that out. We don't require it to be in a specific medium. The student chooses the medium. That is to say, they can go with their strengths, or they can explore something they haven't explored yet before. And that's what the program provides. It's a stable structure for every student who's interested in art, all forms of art, to explore. And in this way, we're also very thankful that we're connected to the theater department, for example, or the music department, so that the students can also learn from those different departments and bring them into their art making.
Thank you very much for that, Sir Don. Um, I'd also like to ask about the career opportunities waiting for the graduates of Fine Arts, not department. But before that, I'd like to ask Isa, what's the most enjoyable thing that you can think of, or the activities as a student that you really like the most here in Silliman University, especially in the Fine Arts department?
Enjoyable things to do in fine arts. Well, I think every day is really fun. Like, it doesn't
Yeah.
feel like you're going to a classroom and you're just gonna be sitting there. You're gonna be stuck, because it's like we're being practiced to like work with a lot of other people. So we're in the studio and everyone is interacting. So it kind of feels like it's just like the walls are made of trampoline and everyone's ideas are just like bouncing off of each other and we're helping each other. So I think that's really fun that I get to do that, and then I feel like I have made a lot of friendships in fine arts. Also, I like that we have, at least in our department, I feel like there's a lot of agency for students. So it feels like, oh, if you really want to do this crazy thing, you want to do this crazy project, then like you can, like nothing's really stopping you. I mean, a lot of our faculty tries to like guide us too in the right direction, but we're not really like tied to one thing. Like, they're not telling us what to do. It's not like the normal like academic structure where you go in a classroom and a teacher tells you to do something and you do it. It's like a teacher gives you a prompt and you try to think your way. So I think it kind of helps a lot. I feel like I used to be really terrified of graduating, but now it feels like, oh, it's okay, because when I graduate, I feel like I can think for myself because of like how we work inside the program. So yeah, that's pretty enjoyable.
So the Fine Arts department, meanwhile, allows you to, think out of the box. No?
Yeah.
Yeah, Sir Don, I asked earlier about the career opportunities waiting for our graduates.
It's going to be a range of options. Some of our graduates have decided to become like independent artists who will show in galleries and so on and so forth. A lot of our students, a lot of our graduates are also doing things like commission works. There are some of our graduates who have gone to art residencies after they've graduated. So, residencies, grants, museum work is also part of it. Like the whole setup that you see now was set up with the students. The students man the gallery, for example, so they get some training in terms of museum handling, museum work. So independent artists, right? Commissions, residencies is a big thing also that we'd like our students to pursue, that we feel like we should prepare them for. Art residencies, or applying for grants, institutional grants, and so on and so forth. But the idea here really is to create the tools by which a student can create a lifelong practice of art. So the art market, like in Dumaguete, is starting to kind of increase and develop. There are also opportunities in like Cebu, Bacolod, Manila, and a lot of our students, partake of those opportunities. But in general, like sort of really the vision here is so that the students can make art part of their lives, their continuing lives. It's something that is sustainable.
Yeah, I think it's good that it's like that, because not a lot of arts, because a lot of people think you go to an art school, you become like just an artist after, because there's like a really huge list of jobs that you can take. So it's not like you go to art school. I mean, maybe your dream could be like, I'm going to be an independent artist, but that could change. That's why there's a lot of, I feel like that's why we have like a lot of curatorship classes, because you could work in a museum or in a gallery. So a lot of that is included in our program, where we're taught how to work in the gallery. So I think it's really cool that we do have the gallery, because we get to experience that work like firsthand, that we get to actually manage the stuff. We have to pack the stuff, we have to learn all this stuff. Okay, it's experience needed when we do graduate. So it's not like we're only learning about how to make the art, but we're also learning about how to take care of it. And yeah,
Yeah, I have a lot of questions, no, but I hate to break it. We're running out of time. Thank you very much, Sir Don, for allowing us to understand more about arts and culture and how relevant it's art in our lives. No, kindly invite our audience, no, for those who really want to become artists and for those who want to enroll at the Fine Arts Department in Silliman University.
Yeah, come on over. If you guys want, you can always visit our studio, schedule a visit with us, and see how we work. We can't promise you good grades all the time because there are certain standards also, of course. But we do promise you that there's this wonderful world to explore in terms of not just the technical aspects of making artwork, but also the idea of creating meaning. Not only as a community, but also as individuals. Our relationships with our families, our friends, and so on. That all sort of becomes part of the training. So come on over. Let us know if you're visiting.
It's really fun.
It's really fun.
It's really fun.
Yeah, and just let us know if you'd like to visit the studio.
So this is I'd like to correct myself, this is the Arinego Art Gallery, not choir. No. So come and visit in this spacious and, with all the colorful and, thought-provoking illustrations and sculpture, as I can see here. Now you can come here whenever you want. Thank you very much, Sir Don and Isa, but I will not let you go without answering the fast talk. No, so you don't have to think about through it. No, think for a couple of minutes, just seconds. You just have to choose one.
This is so new to me. It's like I was put on the spot. Okay.
You just have to choose one. Let's start with Isa.
Yeah.
Is it the Oriental Hall or the Guy Hall?
Guy Hall.
Guy Hall. Sir Don, are you a night owl or an early bird?
Night owl.
No, a night owl. Isa, amphitheater or Silliman Gymnasium?
Amphitheater.
Is it the Arinego Arts Gallery, Sir Don, or the Luz Auditorium?
Luz Auditorium.
Okay, I thought it's the
I'm
gallery.
here all the time.
So for a change,
Kinda
Isa, plants or pets?
Wait, what?
Plants or pets?
Plants.
Plants. Sir
Oh
Don.
wait.
Always.
Oh no. That's
Pets? Pets? But you're also a plantita.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so
So it's
hard.
difficult to, choose. Home or workplace, Sir Don?
Home.
Isa, love or academics?
Love.
Love. Sir Don, love or career?
Unexpected.
Love.
Love.
Career is
Okay.
part of that, right? You choose it because you love it.
Amen. And Isa, favorite tambayan in Silliman?
Guy Hall. As weird as that sounds.
Sir Don, the thing you miss the most as a student?
Oh, fighting with my teachers.
Fighting with your
Yeah,
teachers?
I always used to have a lot of arguments with my
Oh
teachers.
my god.
I didn't see that coming. No, Isa, favorite mentor in Silliman?
Sir Don.
Of course. Do you fight with Sir Don also?
No.
Oh.
But I do like, "Ay, Sir Don kapuya, na Sir Don ay. But
Yeah, it's part of the
It's cool.
student life. Sir Don, art is
Art is for everybody.
for everybody.
Nice.
Isa, art is
for everybody. Art is cool.
art is cool. And Silliman culture is
Silliman culture is for everybody.
for everyone.
Yeah.
Silliman culture is
Very diverse. I think so.
Thank you very much, Isa and Sir Don. But we're not yet done. We are now at the last segment of Hashtag Silliman, and that is Hashtag WTP, Hashtag Words to Ponder, because I don't have here with me or with us today, Joshua. So hi, Joshua. Enjoy your trip to Mindanao, wherever you are. I hope that you are all right, no? Amping always. But we are now at the last segment, which is the Hashtag WTP, Word to Ponder. My word to ponder for tonight is the word appreciation. Sometimes, because of the difficulties, the shortcomings, the problems that we encounter in life, sometimes appreciation is very difficult for us to do. Especially appreciating the simplest forms here in this world, just like what Sir Don mentioned, that wigs can be an art form, an act can be an art form, can be considered as an art, no? So if we just have this, heart to appreciate whatever we can see, the beautiful creation, the beautiful surroundings around us, it will probably give us a deeper meaning in life. No, that we will not just focus on what is not there, on what are the problems, what are the difficulties, but we can have a beautiful meaning in life, and because of that appreciation, we learn to live and love life to the fullest. No? Thank you very much, Isa and Sir Don, for a very meaningful conversation, and I hope you enjoyed this Monday night chat, or Monday talk with Sir Don and Isa. Thank you very much, and to God be the glory. Hello everyone, thank you very much for watching #Silliman. Don't forget to like, comment, and share, and please follow our Facebook page, that is #Silliman, and we also have a YouTube account, #Silliman. Please also don't forget to click the notification bell for more updates. And catch us at Phil Products every Monday at 8 p.m. and replays will be shown every Tuesday before the noontime news and every Saturday after the noontime news. This has been Ronelyn Faith Vailoces, and this is Sir Don and Isa. See you next week only here on #Silliman.